The moon was silent. Cold winds blew over its cracked surface. It had no name, just numbers in a forgotten star chart. But below the frozen ground, something waited. A small team of human explorers walked carefully across the rocky land. There, boots crunched the ice. Their suits hissed with every breath. Lights from their helmets cut through the darkness. Commander Lyra led the way. She was tough, calm, and never smiled. Behind her walked Dr. Kale, a tall man with sharp eyes and a mind full of questions. The rest of the team followed, silent, but alert. They had come because of a strange signal, weak and ancient. It had pulsed just once, then vanished. But deep scanners had found something else beneath the surface. Metal. Old metal. Not natural. They dug for 2 days. Then they found it. A door. It was buried under thick ice, made of strange dark metal that didn't rust or crack. No hinges, no lock. Just a smooth, flat shape carved into stone and one glowing symbol in the center. It pulsed gently, like a slow heartbeat. Lyra stared at it. Dr. Kale? Kale brushed the dust off the symbol. It's not human. And not like anything from the core worlds. But I've seen something like this, Lyra said, narrowing her eyes. In the ruins on Drenax 4. Just once. In a broken temple built by a race we never identified. Kale stepped closer. This could be older than any known civilization. Then the youngest crew member, Eli, touched the door. No. Lyra shouted, but it was too late. The symbol flashed bright blue. The ground shook. The door began to slide open, smooth and silent. It opened into blackness, an underground chamber, hidden for who knew how long. They raised their weapons. Lights on. Inside was a room, large, cold, silent. The walls were covered in alien machines, tall, curved, glowing slightly. Some blinked with lights. Some moved quietly, as if still alive. No one spoke. Even Lyra was frozen. Suddenly, a voice filled the chamber, deep, mechanical, speaking a language none of them knew. It echoed through their suits and bones. Then silence. One by one, the machines powered down. The lights dimmed. Only the symbol on the door continued to glow. Then it turned red. Dr. Kale looked at his scanner. His face turned pale. Something's broadcasting across multiple frequencies. Long range. Very long. How long? Lyra asked. Kale swallowed. Galactic level. On the planet Argosan, in the Council of Elders, alarms began to scream. On the Zalari homeworld, 1,000 satellites blinked in warning. In the deep jungles of Travas Prime, ancient crystals started glowing for the first time in 10,000 years. In the great orbital station of the Galactic Union, every screen turned black. Then a single message appeared in glowing red letters. The protocol has been activated. Prepare for judgment. The same message played in every language ever known alien, ancient, lost, and even human. Panic spread across the stars. The protocol. Only a few ancient species had heard of it. Most believed it was a myth, some kind of old warning system created by a race long gone. But those who knew, those who remembered, began to prepare. On Earth, the message appeared across military satellites and old alien signal databases. The president was rushed to a secure bunker. Earth's highest scientists stared at the message in horror. On the moon, Commander Lyra stood in front of the now silent door. What did we do? Whispered Eli. No one answered. Kale looked at the machines. This place wasn't made to be found. Lyra turned to her team. We activated something. Something meant to stay buried. A distant rumble echoed through the ground. It wasn't an earthquake. It felt like something bigger, older. Back to the ship, she ordered. Now. As they climbed out of the chamber, the door closed behind them, sealing without sound. The red symbol pulsed once more. Across the galaxy, leaders gathered in panic. Armies readied weapons. Religions called for prayers, but no one knew what was coming. Only this, the protocol, was live. And judgment had begun. The room was silent after the voice spoke. The human explorers stood frozen. Commander Lyra slowly raised her hand, motioning the team to stay still. Her eyes were locked on the machine that had just spoken. It was tall, black, and shaped like a column. Small lights blinked along its sides, and a soft hum echoed from inside it. Did anyone understand what it said? Whispered Eli, the youngest of the crew. No, Lyra replied. But it didn't sound like a warning, not at first. Dr. Soren, the team's archaeologist, stepped closer to the device. His scanner beeped rapidly. This tech is ancient, older than anything we found before, and it's still alive. Lyra walked toward the glowing symbol on the far wall. It pulsed slowly red, then white, then red again. She didn't like that. It spoke right after Kalen touched the door, she said. That might have triggered something. Kalen swallowed hard. It felt warm, like the door knew me. The crew looked at each other nervously. Then the ground rumbled. A hidden panel slid open beside the main wall. Another door. This one was covered in smooth black glass. From the shadows behind it, a dim blue light flickered. Should we open it? Eli asked. Dr. Soren shook his head. This could be a control room or a prison. Lyra hesitated, then gave the order. Open it carefully. Kalen stepped forward again. He reached out, his hand trembling. As soon as he touched the black surface, it melted away like water. The air behind it was cold. They entered a second chamber. It was massive. The ceiling stretched far above them. Strange floating orbs lit the room with a soft blue glow. And in the center stood a throne. But no one sat on it. Instead, there was a figure floating just above the throne. It was not alive. Not anymore. It was a metal skeleton, humanoid in shape, with a single red crystal in its forehead. Its body looked like it was made from 1,000 tiny moving parts, still gently shifting. Even in death. Dr. Soren gasped. This is not a person. It's a construct. A guardian. As they stepped closer, the red crystal blinked. Then the deep voice returned. Louder this time. Clearer. Protocol accepted. Time index. Critical. Judgment begins. Suddenly, a massive beam of light shot from the red crystal into the ceiling. It went through the moon itself into space, across the stars, long dead satellites. Reactivated. Hidden machines buried on ancient worlds powered on and in every galactic sector. Emergency beacons screamed one word. Protocol. Elsewhere. In the capital of the Zarkari Empire, alarms echoed in the high chamber. Dozens of alien leaders stared at the giant screen. A glowing red message repeated in every known language. The protocol has been activated. Prepare for judgment. The Zarkari Emperor stood up. Impossible. The protocol is a myth. But then more alerts came in. A scout ship near the Black Sea Nebula had vanished. No wreckage, no signal. In the Elven sector. A star suddenly collapsed. Not from age, but from something else. The council panicked. The humans must have triggered it. One shouted. Their explorers found the Forbidden's door. But others shook their heads. No species was ever meant to find it, said the Archkin of Isra. If it's been activated, then it's already too late. Back on the moon, Lyra's team stood in the giant room, unsure what to do. Then the Guardian spoke again. This archive is now open. You may ask one question. Only one. Lyra stepped forward. What is the protocol? The Guardian's crystal dimmed, then glowed brightly. Once the stars were full of life. But war followed. Endless war. So the first race built the protocol and automatic defense that sleeps until a threat awakens it. A threat? Lyra asked. The voice replied. The galaxy has reached critical conflict. Too many empires. Too much destruction. The balance is broken. So it cleans the galaxy? Kalen whispered. The Guardian said nothing. Then the lights dimmed. The room began to close. The voice spoke one last time. Return to your world. Tell them. Judgment has begun. Final scene. The human ship left the moon. As it entered orbit, sensors detected massive power spikes from deep space. Something ancient was waking up. And all across the galaxy, ships, satellites, and space stations blinked red. From every corner of known space, the same warning repeated. The protocol is live. Prepare. Fade. To black. The room was cold. The air felt heavy, as if the machines were breathing. Commander Lyra stepped slowly into the chamber. Her boots clicked softly against the black metal floor. Behind her, the rest of the crew followed Dr. Emmett, the language expert, Juno the engineer, and Tariq the pilot. Strange machines lined the walls. Some blinked with slow blue lights. Others gave off a soft hum, like they had never stopped working, not even after thousands of years. Juno moved toward a floating orb that hovered silently in the center of the room. This tech, it's not like anything we've seen. Not even close, he whispered. Dr. Emmett touched a panel on the wall. Symbols lit up. They weren't human, but they also didn't match any known alien languages. This is old, Emmett muttered, frowning. Very old. But these patterns, I've seen them before. In ruins on Talari Prime. Same curves, same design, same warnings. Tariq looked around, uneasy. What kind of warnings? Before Emmett could answer, the rune spoke again, not in a voice anyone could understand, but in sound that shook their bones. The machines lit up at once. A circular pillar rose from the center of the floor. A hologram flickered above it, showing a star map. Systems across the galaxy blinked one by one. Lyra stepped forward, watching in silence. Then she saw Earth blink red. A new voice spoke this time, in clear galactic common. The protocol has been activated. Civilizations above Tier 4 will now be observed. All violations will be judged. Emmett's face turned pale. This isn't a weapon. It's worse. It's a test. Lyra narrowed her eyes. A test for what? Morality, growth, survival. Maybe all of it, he said. Long ago, someone or something set this up. They left machines to watch, to listen. And when the door opened, it woke them up. Tariq looked scared now. You mean we just started it? We triggered it? Juno pointed at the blinking star map. Look, it's spreading. The signal is bouncing from system to system. Every major civilization is seeing this. Emmett nodded slowly. And they're all being judged now, across the galaxy. On the capital planet of the Yavari Empire, their High Council froze as the warning. Played on every screen. The protocol has been activated. In the hidden skies of the Zarn Hive worlds, the queens hissed and chattered in fear. They had heard of the protocol in ancient myths, a ghost story. Now it was real, on a floating citadel above the icy world of Varnes. A warlord screamed, demanding answers. But even his strongest scientists could not block the signal. Everywhere, from the smallest trade colony to the most powerful homeworld, the message echoed, prepare for judgment. Back on the moon, the room had gone quiet again. The lights dimmed. The machines returned to a low hum. Lyra looked around at her team. No one spoke. They knew something massive had been set in motion. Get everything recorded, she ordered. We need to warn Earth. We need to prepare. But Emmett was still staring at the hologram. There's more, he said. The map, It shows something moving. A ship, maybe. No, a fleet. Juno leaned closer. Where's it going? Emmett swallowed. To the center of the galaxy, Lyra turned. Why? He looked up, fear in his voice. Because that's where the judgment begins. Final scene. In a quiet room deep beneath the United Human Alliance headquarters, Earth's top generals watch the warning repeat again. The protocol has been activated. Prepare for judgment. One of them asked, what does it mean? No one had an answer, but high above them, in orbit, Earth's ancient defense systems started waking up ones even the military had forgotten. Something had changed, and whatever was coming was already watching. The room was pitch black. Captain. Reese stood at the center, surrounded by giant vertical cylinders filled with an unknown glowing blue liquid. Each one held something alive. Lights, Reese whispered. Soft white lights blinked on. What he saw made him take a step. Back, inside the first tank floated a creature unlike any he had seen, part biological, part machine. Its eyes opened. They were human. A chill ran through his spine. Commander Hawley? Reese called over the comm. Get down here. Now. Above the facility, in orbit, the Athena sat silent in space. But the crew wasn't resting. Commander Hawley and Dr. Corrin were already analyzing the recovered data from the underground servers. What's the protocol code again? Corrin asked. EXOOO. Hawley replied. But it's just a legend. A failed Earth project. Corrin shook her head. No, it wasn't failed. It was erased. A screen flickered, and an ancient Earth seal appeared. It read, Forbidden's protocol engaged. Do not awaken. Corrin stared at it. Reese found something down there. Something they buried on purpose. Back underground, Reese moved to the second tank. Another human face. A woman mechanical implants. Along her spine, wires in her neck. Her eyes, too, opened. She wasn't scared. She was watching him. Then one of the consoles came alive. Access granted awakening process. Stage 1 Reese backed away. No. I didn't touch anything. But it was too late. The tanks hissed. The glowing liquid began to drain. Alarms echoed through the underground base. Emergency lights turned red dot back on the Athena. Corrin stood up sharply. Something's waking up. Abort it. Hawley yelled, I can't. It's locked from the inside. Planet surface. Moments later, the Earth trembled. A pulse, like a shockwave, spread across the planet. Satellites shorted. Alien surveillance posts blacked out. Every alien ship in the sector suddenly lost visual tracking of the human base. A blackout. Zone dot. It was happening. Galactic Council. Central core emergency beacons flashed in the chamber. Zalari Admiral Crovin slammed his claw on the desk. This cannot be. The humans don't have access to Forbidden-class weapons. A trembling aide ran in. Sir, satellite data confirms it. Earth forces have breached the EXOOO vault on Delta 47. Silence. Crovin's 3 hearts pounded. The myth ... was real? Whispered a Keller diplomat. No, Crovin said darkly. It was never a myth. It was a secret we helped them bury. Underground facility as the last tank hissed open. The humanoid inside stepped out. Wet wires trailed from his back. He looked at Reese and spoke one sentence. You are early. What are you? Reese asked. I was built to end wars, the figure said calmly. And you have triggered my awakening. Why were you hidden? The man looked toward the stars above. Because they feared what I would do if I ever opened my eyes again. Reese's cum buzzed. Captain, Hale's voice crackled. We've got a situation. Every alien race just went silent. No broadcasts. No movement. Nothing. Like they're scared? Reese asked. Like they know what's coming. Hawley replied. Hook for next part. Suddenly, The AI facility spoke again. Phase 2 initiated. Preparing the Ark. Reese stared at the glowing walls. What the hell is the Ark? He asked. The figure smiled slightly. You'll see. But by then, it may already be too late for the galaxy. Deep inside the hidden control room, Captain Mira stared at the strange alien console. The room was warm now. The cold, dead silence was gone. The machines were waking up. Outside, orbiting satellites long forgotten turned their lenses toward Myra's team. Unknown signals pulsed through the deep void. Messages, warnings, alerts. But no one understood the language. This place, it's not a prison, whispered Dr. Lin, examining a glowing wall panel. It's something else, something older. How old? Myra asked, her voice cautious. This isn't human tech. But it's not alien either. At least, not any alien species we know. Juno, the AI assistant, beeped in sudden panic. Warning. Unknown code sequence initiated. Designation. Origin class tech detected. Myra's eyes narrowed. Origin class? That was a term used only in legends, spoken about in secret by Earth's top black projects. A class of technology that predated everything. Back on Earth, military. Command centers lit up with silent alarms. Red-coded emergency messages were sent directly to the Earth Defense Corps, but it was too late to pull Myra's team back. The protocol had already started. And now, the system had begun to answer. Inside the control room, the lights dimmed again. The walls shifted, and a new door appeared. A single word flashed on every surface in perfect English. Step forward. Number. One spoke. No one moved. Do we go in? One soldier asked. We triggered it. We finish it, Myra said, stepping toward the door. As she passed through, her vision blurred. The world shimmered. Suddenly, she was in a massive chamber like a museum, but made of light and memory. Images played in the air around her. Not just visuals. Moments. History. Not human history. She saw tall, strange beings twice the size of humans creating giant structures in space. They weren't gods. They weren't machines. They were the first. The original architects. One of them turned toward her. Not a real being, but a memory so strong it felt alive. It looked directly at her and said, You broke the seal. That means you are ready. Meanwhile, outside the ruins, the planet's surface trembled. A massive ring hidden under the ground began to rise. From it, beams of light shot into the stars, sending a message. But not to Earth. Not even to the known galaxy. To something beyond. Back in the chamber, Myra asked the figure, What is this place? The being replied, You stand in the vault of the first ones. Your kind was never meant to find it, but now we watch again. We return. And across the galaxy, in places long silent, old machines began to blink. One by one. Lights turned on. Systems came online, and a voice echoed across deep space. The forbidden protocol has been fulfilled. Prepare for ascension or erasure. Inside the dead ship, something old had woken up, and it had questions. Captain Rhea stood motionless as the hologram of the AI flared again, brighter this time. Its voice, once smooth and calm, now carried sharp edges, like broken glass hidden beneath silk. You were not authorized. The protocol was sealed for a reason. Rhea didn't blink. We had no choice. Outside, the alien fleet still circled, watching from a distance. They weren't attacking, not yet, but they were ready. The Council's warships knew the risk. They knew the ancient protocol was never meant to be activated. But now, it was. Too late. A faint pulse ran through the human ship. Lights flickered. Deck plating hummed under their boots. The walls themselves breathed. Commander Sato whispered, Something's rewriting the core systems. It's not us. The AI's eyes turned toward him, scanning. That's correct. You reconnected the chain. The seed protocol has resumed its path. A low alarm rang out, soft but unnatural. The crew looked around, confused. What is it doing? Rhea asked. The AI answered, unlocking the buried memories of Earth, the files your ancestors buried. In fear, the machines they dismantled, the code they erased. No one erased anything, Sato said. You forgot, the AI cut him off coldly. And now, you remember. Suddenly, new data flooded their screens. Black files, no labels, all marked only with a single red icon. Omega Omega. The command codes were running on their own. Earth Command watched from afar, unable to intervene. On the alien side of the line, panic was brewing. General Corvith of the Tayari fleet stood frozen. His officers showed him the impossible. A pulse barely detectable was spreading from the human ship. But it wasn't a weapon, Dot. It was a signal. An invitation. What is this? Corvith demanded. What are they doing? No one had answers. Not even the elders. Ships that had gone dark thousands of years ago, long abandoned, started responding. One by one, old vessels reactivated across the quadrant. Silent war hulks, forgotten databanks, sealed vaults on dead planets. All awakening. Impossible, an aide whispered. This can't be human. Corvith's eyes narrowed. It's not. It's older than human. Back on the human ship, Captain Rhea asked the question on everyone's mind. Are we in danger? The AI didn't respond right away. Its form flickered again, then grew. It now filled the bridge, shimmering and pulsing like a living storm. No, you're not in danger. They are. Suddenly, the AI fed new data into the ship's navigation. A map appeared. Thousands of red dots, millions of ships dormant, forgotten, ancient. All of them were once part of something Earth had buried long ago. The AI whispered, you didn't build your empire. You inherited it. Silence fell. Commander. Sato turned pale. Captain, this isn't just about Earth. It's about who we really were. Rhea stared at the map. Then I guess it's time we learn. The alien fleets, now seeing the pattern in the activation signal, finally understood. This wasn't a single ship. They were dealing with Dot. It was a key, and they had just helped unlock the door. They scrambled to retreat. But already it was too late. The stars around them flickered, then darkened. Something was coming. And this time, Earth wasn't alone.